I built the ultimate logistically possible college football travel schedule for this season, so let's dive right into it. Week 0, we're going to start off FCS Southern Illinois at West Florida hosting their first ever FCS game, moving up from Division 2. Friday, we have to take the night off to get 2 more games in for the weekend. Sorry, Cal Poly, Idaho fans. New Mexico State at Florida State, where we're going to be Saturday. It might not be the most enticing game or the best game on the slate, but it makes the most logistic sense. West Alabama at Tuskegee, some D2 action. That's what we're going to finish up with before our very busy Week 1 slate. Week 1, we get to stay in Atlanta for 3 straight days. We see Colorado, Georgia Tech, North Carolina A&T, and Georgia State, which obviously is not the best game that Friday, but to avoid traveling back and forth, and we get Baylor, Auburn in a neutral site game. Before Sunday, seeing Louisville and Ole Miss in a neutral site game in Nashville, and finishing it up with SMU and Florida State. This is the second time we're going to go to Florida State in the first 2 weeks, but it's the last time we're going to repeat a stadium for the entire season. We're going to start off Week 2 with a non-Division 1 game between Arkansas Tech and Northwestern Oklahoma. It was this or Miami, and Miami doesn't make sense for what we're doing this weekend. We got Missouri and Kansas, the rivalry game. Can't miss that. And Saturday, we're going to stick in Oklahoma, go to Oregon and Oklahoma State. Might not be the most competitive game either, but we get to see one of the national championship favorites very early on in this running. Week 3, we're going to start it off with Syracuse at Pitt before traveling to North Carolina on Friday for Miami and Wake Forest. And then Saturday, I think we could do a doubleheader. We have UNC and Clemson at 12. If that game ends at 4, it takes about 2.5 hours to get back to Charlotte. Should be plenty of time to get there for West Virginia, Virginia. And then you get 2 games on Saturday. Week 4, you get to spend the week in North Carolina if you want. Liberty at Coastal Carolina on Thursday, Navy at UAB on Friday, and Oklahoma at Georgia rounding us off on Saturday. So we get to stick in the Southeast for most of the first part of the season, but don't worry, we're going to branch off. Week 5, that Thursday actually happens to be my birthday, which I didn't try to take the day off, but it's going to be a day off. Now, I'm not doing this schedule, but if I were, it'd be nice to have my birthday off. Friday, Penn State at Northwestern. Have to see the new Northwestern Stadium. Had to be on the list. And then Saturday, we have Ohio State at Iowa. A little bit of a drive. And then if that game's the big noon game and West Virginia, Iowa State is, a 7 p.m. kickoff, which probably won't be, but somehow if this works out, you get West Virginia and Iowa State as well. Week 6 is when midweek football starts. So we got Southern Miss and Troy in Alabama on the first Tuesday. Wednesday, Jacksonville State at Kennesaw State, so staying in Georgia, pretty close by. Thursday, we're going to head up to Kentucky for Missouri State at Western Kentucky. Friday, we have Florida State at Louisville. And Saturday, LSU at Kentucky. So very nice condensed travel schedule, staying in the state of Kentucky for 3 of the 5 days. On week 7, we have our Tuesday night game in Middle Tennessee State, so not a lot of travel from Saturday to Tuesday. Wednesday, Kennesaw State at Missouri State, so a little bit of travel here in this week just to make it work. Colorado State at Texas State, so it's going to be a busy night time after that game and morning to get to Texas State on time. Then Friday over to Louisiana for Memphis at Tulane, but Saturday, pretty local here, Mississippi State at LSU. Another game where you want to see Lane Kiffin and Tigers, make sure to boo them a little bit. Week 8, we're starting it off in Marshall in West Virginia. We got South Alabama at Marshall. Wednesday, we're off. The only FBS game, actually, the only game I could see was Sam Houston State hosting. So sorry to Snapback Sports. We're not going to be able to make that one because we have to go to Memphis on Thursday for East Carolina at Memphis. Friday, we're back to Oklahoma with Army at Tulsa. And then Saturday, we are heading to Texas, Austin, as they host Ole Miss. We're going to do a little West Coast run on Week 9, so we're going to take the Tuesday off. No games that made sense. Jacksonville State at New Mexico State is on Wednesday night. Thursday, yet again, not a game that made sense. We'd have to go far back east to go to a game. This is not going to happen. So Kent State at Sacramento State on Friday and Ohio State at USC on Saturday for this little West Coast run. I would have liked to stay out west a little longer, but we have the first start of MACtion on Week 10, and we needed to get back east for that. So we have Buffalo at Miami, Ohio on Tuesday, Southern Miss at Eastern Michigan in Detroit on Wednesday. No games that made sense on Thursday. Then Friday, we stayed Nebraska at Illinois, and then Saturday, Oregon at Ohio State. One of the massive games we're going to see on this schedule. Not a lot of travel over the weekend, so I can hang out in Ohio with Kent State and Bowling Green on Tuesday. Then we're going to head a little bit further west, Buffalo at Ball State on Wednesday, before taking Thursday off as a travel day to get to Colorado as they host Houston on Friday, and Baylor at BYU on Saturday. Of course, after that, it's right back to Ohio as we have Ball State at Ohio on Tuesday, Central Michigan at Buffalo on Wednesday, Rice at Temple, which is in Philly, on Thursday, before heading back to Michigan for Oregon at Michigan State on Friday and UCLA at Michigan on Saturday. So seeing both the big Michigan schools in one weekend is pretty convenient for this schedule. Week 13, we get to stay in Michigan until Tuesday for Miami, Ohio at Western Michigan. And then there's no games Wednesday, which is very convenient as we head to Texas to finish off the year. TCU at Texas Tech on Thursday. Texas at Texas A&M in that big rivalry on Friday, and finishing it off with the Iron Bowl on Saturday before heading to the Big 12 championship game and the SEC championship game to close out the season before bowl schedule, which, I mean, I could probably do that now looking at the games and whatnot, but here's the ultimate logistically possible travel schedule for the 2026 college football season.